Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there. Just let me know that it is indeed working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning so far. Happy Friday, everybody. Super excited to wrap up our week and go into our weekend. Also, just want to give a shout out right now to our veterans. I'll probably say that again just after we get more people here, but just want to say hello to you guys and thank you for your service. Um, all right, guys, so let's jump into this. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time that you take a trade. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's go ahead and close our COT report trades for the week. This is the fun part, right? We've been patient all week to get to this point, and here it is, right? So let me pull up my app here and let's close these out and put a stamp on the week, which will be really exciting. Okay, let me pull this up here. All right, so let's start with leverage funds. Okay, so the top 6 leverage funds, let's start with the pound CAD. Yesterday, this was up 3 pips. This one's going to close as a loser, minus 16. So let me go ahead and mark that minus 16. Pound yen. This one also is going to be one of the few losers this week. So pound yen minus 40. Let me go ahead and close that. Okay, and then the NZD CAD. Okay, I think these are actually the only losers. So I'm doing all the losers first, right? This is going to be a minus 35 on the NZD CAD. Oh, I skipped the pound Aussie. My bad. I went straight to the losers. Okay, pound Aussie. This was up 115 yesterday. We're going to close for plus 209. This is awesome. 209 on that one. So let me close all these trades. Here, one second. I actually took several trades on the pound Aussie. So let me get these closed out. Um, Here, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me go over here. Okay. Okay. Go close pound Aussie. There we go. The full position. Yep. Okay, awesome. And then NZD yen, that one already closed for the week early. And then the Aussie Kiwi, this one's up 85 right now. Okay, so we're gonna go and close that one. Close position. There we go. Okay, so that's a recap for leverage funds, plus 135 pips on the week. Let's go over to commercial shift. Let's go ahead and close these trades. At pound Aussie, we closed that one just barely. I closed it forward plus 209. So we got 209 here on the pound Aussie. Aussie CAD, this is a plus 105. I'm going to close that now. That had some significant improvement overnight too. Plus 105. Aussie yen also had a lot of improvement overnight. This was up 50. Now it's up 127. Going to close that one. And Aussie dollar. This one also nearly double, actually doubled last night. No, didn't quite double actually. This was up 90. I've got 162 on that right now. I'm going to go and close it. 162 on the Aussie dollar. And then the Euro Aussie. This is the trade of the week, actually. It's up 326 pips right now. So let's 326 on one trade, guys. Think about that. 326 pips on one stinking trade. If that is the best trade you've ever taken as far as pips go, let us know in the chat box because I'd love to find that out. I think back in June we had a trade on the Euro Yen that made 490 in 1 week. But that you just don't get that all the time. That's pretty darn amazing. 326 pips. I'm just blown away. That's awesome. So for a grand total of 1,006 pips between 6 different trades for the week. That's just crazy, guys. I'm so elated right now. That's so exciting. So um that's awesome. Okay, so what a great week. So I'm flat now. I don't believe I have any other positions open. Let me pull up my accounts. I just before we got on, I closed with some of my other prop firms and I closed with some of my other accounts. Um, so I'm done. I'm flat, um, completely at this point. So kind of amazing. Nice. My results aren't like yours. I closed for all pairs for a net of 1600. That's still pretty good, Jim. I'm really happy to hear that. Um, that's awesome though. That is good. All right, guys. Well, so let's kind of so let's put a stamp on the those trades for the week, and then let's also recap a couple of things, some things to be aware of. So I posted this last night on the Telegram chat right here, as you can see. Um, CFTC is not even doing anything today. Um, they're taking the day off for the holiday this weekend, right, for Veterans Day. And again, for those of you that served, thank you for your service, and happy Veterans Day. Um, but yeah, so we're not going to get a COT report until Monday. So just be aware of that right now. A lot of you guys already saw this, but if you haven't seen it already, I just want to make sure. Um, I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. So there won't be any COT signals that come out on Saturday. Uh, yeah, there won't be any. Um, yeah, you won't have any trades this weekend. So if you don't see, this normal update that I send out every Saturday, which looks like this, if you don't see this on Saturday, that's normal. Okay. You won't even see it on Sunday. Okay. Just because we won't be able to do anything. In fact, you won't even see this post until the afternoon, probably early evening, depending on where you live, right? Um, this will come out. Let's see. The COT report comes out at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Monday. So we're not going to send out any COT report signals until just after that. So I've already got my time blocked out for that day. So I plan to be on the CFTC site, basically right when it comes out. And I'm just going to go ahead and get everything done. You'll probably see the scanner update first, just because the scanner, um, yeah, we'll get this anyway. I don't need to explain it, but the scanner will update first, and then you'll see um, you'll get this post afterwards. Okay. And then you can go ahead and take those trades pretty much right away. Um, I guess my only advice would not to be to take these trades during rollover. So rollovers between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So during that 1 hour period, I just don't take the trades between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern. That's really my only advice on that. We will have a session on Monday morning. I was planning on it. I don't think there's, and I'm even still planning on the basic training too for Monday. Let's actually pull up the calendar here and let's see what we have. Yeah, so yeah, today and tomorrow is Veterans Day, and then you've got um yeah, Monday. We'll still do live trading, so we'll look for some opportunities. Um, but we may not get too heavy into things because we don't have that COT report bias. And then we'll do weekly training on at 2 p.m. Eastern. So, and then pretty much, let's see, because I need to be at the computer at my 1:30. Let's see, yeah, 2:30, yeah, 1:30. So pretty much right after this webinar, I'm gonna go in and grab, like 30 minutes later, I'm gonna go in and grab the COT data. Which by the way, I'll start taking these now. If you guys have things you want me to talk about next week in the weekly training, feel free to send me those requests today so I can start preparing for that on Monday. So yeah, just hit me up with topics that you'd like me to talk about, or if there's something that's on your mind or you need extra help with, let me know what those are so that we can meet together on Monday and have a good discussion during our basic training webinar. But yeah, like I said, for those of you that missed it, there won't be any COT trades sent out tomorrow, Saturday, or Sunday. Those will come out sometime in the afternoon on Monday, and most likely you'll get them between 3:30 and 4:30, like between that hour, probably in the latter half of that. So like around 4:30 or between 4 and 4:30 p.m. on Monday Eastern time is probably when you'll get all those trades in, at which point you could probably go into the market and start taking those. All right. But yeah, like I said, great week. Let's actually kind of recap some of these because it really was just tremendous. We did have a news event on Monday. That could be some of the difference between like Jim, you said that you got to figure out the difference. So one of the things we did on Monday is when the news event came out, we wanted to uh, protect our capital, and we wanted to um, uh, like we actually we were in these trades. Some of them were actually up going into the news event. Some of them were down. It's just wherever you were on Monday night with your trades. So what we ended up doing was you could either do one of two things. You could close out half your positions and let the rest ride, or you could have just closed the entire position, which I think most everybody did, including myself. I did that on a couple of my accounts. I just let the whole thing go. A couple of them I just went flat during the news event, and then I just kind of let them do their thing. And then the news event came out, and then right here we got the green light. Like everything seemed clear. This is the direction we were going to go. We were going to go. So you may have missed out on some of the pips between here and here, right? You may have missed out on some of that, but we got right back in about 15 minutes after or 20 minutes after the news event. I sent out that update on Monday. We got in right there, and then we just rode this the rest of the week. Rode that the rest of the week to the upside. Um, Gotcha. So yeah, so that's kind of so it just depends on what you did. I had, several of you just stayed in the whole week and didn't really care about the news event. And some of you got out for the news event and then got right back in 15 minutes later. You would have missed out on those pips right there, on that initial move, right? But then, riding it the rest of the week would put you where it is now. So this is another thing I want to point out too. Not all news events are going to be bad, right? So I think there's this concept, or there's this idea, we've talked about this a lot, that it just seems like there's I think just throughout the industry, a lot of people view news events as like this, oh, news, like, that's big bad news event, right? What if news is the very thing that gets you profitable though? Like with this type of style. Like if you're a scalper, news events are going to absolutely train wreck your scalping strategy, because if you have, 10 pip stop losses, 20 pip stop losses on a scalp trade, yeah, you're going to get wrecked because the spread alone is just going to whip you out of those trades no matter which direction you're going. Doesn't matter. But when you're taking a week long trade, the news can work in your favor. And I'm not saying all news events do. This one just so happened to do that. And I've seen that a lot. If we're trading with the banks and the direction that they want to go for the week, then don't you think the news event might actually push the market in your favor, right? So it's just a consideration to make. For example, I went back and back tested several FOMC meetings. Um, over the last year with the leverage fund strategy. And I was actually kind of surprised because there were some, like half the FOMC meetings, your trades would have gone against you. The other half of the FOMC meetings, your trades would have increased in your favor, right? So what I've kind of concluded to do with a lot of those types of news events like FOMC is, if you're profitable or even down, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're up or down by a Wednesday FOMC meeting, is to just close half your trades a couple hours before the FOMC meeting, book half your profits, book half your losses, and then just let the trades continue to go. That way you kind of get the best of both worlds. You're still expanding if the market goes in your favor, but you're also cutting your losses down if if things don't go in your favor, right? So I think it's kind of an interesting thing. Like when news goes against us, it's easy to say like, oh yeah, glad we pulled out or glad we didn't take those trades. Or if we lost, let's say we hold through a news event and the thing goes against us, it's easy to just say all news events are just terrible. It's easy to just say, yep, they don't work. Okay, yep, not going to trade news again. But again, here we are with a week where the news actually worked tremendously in our favor. See, does that make sense? So it goes both ways. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, there's news, I'm out. It's there's a little more to it, which is why I kind of want to take the approach with a lot of these news events is kind of like I was saying before. I think they should be more of a let's play it cautious, but I don't think you should be totally risk off on these trades. Or if you do go risk off, then we need to be able to get back into them very quickly if the green light's there, which we had on Monday, right there. So, um, right. So let's see. Let's look at some of these comments here. Lee says got whipsawed on the pound Aussie and trying to stop hit for a small profit. On Euro Aussie should have got back in. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, a lot of these really big shift trades are worth getting back in on the pullbacks. This week there were at least three notable pullbacks. You had this one right here. You had this one right here. Um, you have this one right here. Three notable pullbacks on the Euro Aussie this week. And this was the second best shift of the week. And each one of those times the market rallied up. We took a second trade, or we took a midweek trade right here, as you guys know. So we captured this move. Um, that was kind of fun to be able to take that trade during the middle of the week. Not necessarily a caught trade from the weekend, but yeah, it's just a midweek trade. And I didn't know it was going to go that far. I mean, we talked about that area being a supply zone. This was the supply zone we were focused on. It ended up going there, had another little pullback, and then it just continued on the rest of the week. So, um, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good, Lee, that you were able to get back into some of those. Um, it just depends. So I think what hurt with the stop losses at break even is there was a mix of folks who got back into these trades, and some folks had their stop losses close at break even, and others were able to get away and capture the rest of this move, right? So so I think that's where the confusion came, and that's where if there's any like discrepancy between the two, it's if you just took your trade on Monday right here or Sunday night right here and you just left it all week, if you did nothing, you crushed it, right? You absolutely crushed it. If you closed your trade at the news event right here and then got back in right after like 15 minutes later, um, got back into this trade. Some were able to get away with if you didn't mess with your stop loss, then you got away with it. If you had it at break even, it's like 50-50. Like maybe you got away with it, maybe you didn't, because this did come back and retest on Wednesday, and then it went back to the upside. It resumed its uptrend. So again, it's just one of those things. It's just kind of like, okay, it's sixes. Like, it depends on what you did. If you just held all week, then you got the whole thing. If you put your stop loss at break even, um, it's possible you could have gotten away with it, or it's possible you could have closed out at break even. And unless you got back in, you would have just closed at break even, right? So yeah, I could see the difference. I could see the difference between the two. It's just right. It just depends on how you manage it. Um, So, like I said, and I actually did have an account where a couple of these did close at break even, but um, I had others that were where they just kept on going throughout the entire week. And then, like I said, I had some of my prop firm accounts. I just left. I didn't touch them all week. I just took them on Sunday, and I just literally touched them again. Here we are Friday, right? I'm kind of we last month we actually stopped even using the trailing stop because this was an issue. Like because moving the stop losses midweek just seems to be a recipe for like confusion between where you close versus where I close. So um I think it's still a good idea to manage our risk and put stop losses at break even. I think that's a good idea. I don't want to discount that because that is an important thing. I think everybody, no matter what, at least made some money this week. These were just too good of trades to not have made at least something out of them. And if you didn't make money here, there's 11 other trades you could have made money on, right? Um, but yeah, that's one of the issues with trailing stops is that very thing, is that depending on where your entry is versus mine versus where what type of trailing stop, it's just a recipe for, confusion. So one of the things I'm just trying to do is just get everybody to um like at least do one thing correctly, which is, hey, take the trades at the beginning of the week within, relatively the same time, and then using the same stop loss, the average daily range stop loss, and then just holding throughout the entire week. And then during the week, if you want to move your stop loss, I think that's a great idea. Sometimes it's going to work out in your favor, but you're going to be like, oh, I'm so glad I put my stop loss at break even, or I'm so glad I put my stop loss in the money. Um, like for example, on the Aussie dollar, that one just kept going all week in our favor as well. And I actually just kept putting that one, like on the copy trader, I kept moving that one in the money. So as it just continued lower on that short position, I just kept moving that stop loss down, and I never actually hit it, um, even though I kept moving it. So again, sometimes it'll just work to move your stops, and other times you'll regret it. It's just one of those things I can't really um it could go either way, that could go either way. All that really matters to me is that everybody gets in the right trades and you capture most of the week's exposure. The only time I would not want this to happen is, like, let's say this did not go in our favor this week. Let's say we took the long position here and it just went against us right away. Well, straight away, let's just get our stop loss over with. Let's go ahead and hit that stop and get out of that trade. Um, and that's going to be a pretty consistent result across the board, because if the market goes down, yeah, and we went long, if that were to have happened, then, that's an easy, oh yeah, everybody's closed. Shouldn't be any discrepancy there. Um, I think that's been the case on one of the leverage funds trades, the NZD JPY. That one, unfortunately, just went to its stop loss this week pretty quickly. Um, and I think I don't know if anybody else won it, but that's one for me that just went straight to the stop loss within 24 hours. And some of that's going to happen too. All right. Yep, those wild swings are, yeah, like right here. This is definitely the banks trying to sweep everybody out. That's why scalpers hate news events, I think. And I think we could have a little bit more of a brighter perspective on news, to be honest, than a scalper would. I don't think we have to be as nervous about them. I do think, and again, just in recap, that it would be good with big news events like FOMC and rate statements. Those two are like the king news events um, in currency trading, because you're talking about the actual cost of capital, the actual cost of money when you're talking about news events. So yeah, those are big. So with those ones like we had this week, I think it's absolutely a good idea to book partial positions, whether winning or losing. But at the same time, missing out on all that volatility could also be a, a terrible misfortune if you were not able to capture that entire move, right? So, like I was saying, we have to be cautious, but I also don't think if there's a news event, it doesn't always equal, oh, let's just close our trades out and not get back in, right? Like as soon as that news event came out on Monday, I had my hand on the trigger. I was just like, okay, I'm back in, right? All right, guys. Okay, so there's that. So let's continue to look at some of these. Let's go back to the scanner. Um, and let's look at some of the top trades this week. James says, I don't move stop losses on strong signals. Yeah, that can work too. You can definitely do that. Um, let's see. We've got these are the strong these have kind of updated this week, but let's actually just focus on just for a moment just the big shifts. And I want you guys to see that because the shifts are really the big things I like to focus on. When you have something that's really big in a shift, that typically is going to be your best signal for the week, or one of the top shifts will be the best signal. Like I said, the Euro Aussie wound up being this was the best trade of the week right here, the Euro Aussie. And it had the second best positive shift. There were some pretty solid negative shifts that also worked out, but as far as pips go, that Euro Aussie was absolutely our best winner. So right here you've got like as you already know, this one moved up 300 pips in our favor this week, and then you have the pound Aussie. Let's go from the start of the week to where we are now. Oh, by the way, this trade we can close now. This one never triggered on the pound Aussie. Let's go ahead and close those price action trades that we still have open. Um, okay. Let's see. Or did we close this one? Or is it no, this is one we didn't even take. That's right. We were thinking about this one. We didn't even take this one. But we can go ahead and close this Aussie, was it Aussie CAD trade right here? Um, this one got really close to our target or our entry, but it never quite triggered. So this is just a no trade. I had a lot of people ask questions on this one. So when we take these trades, they're pending orders. So that means they haven't actually triggered yet. That's most of the trades we're taking during the week. If you're taking price action trades, that it means it hasn't actually triggered. Um, so when it looks like, oh, did price already go past it? Well, yeah, that's how every limit order trade is. Um, because you're waiting for, well, at least every limit order is, you're waiting for the market to go back up to your entry, then you're going to sell and then write it down, right? So we were looking for a move down, but we were hoping for it to come up a little bit more first, which it never did. So when that happens, it's just a no trade. It just means nothing happened. And at this point, you can just go ahead and close the pending order. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and update everybody. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so we'll close that one, and then we'll on this Aussie dollar too. I don't believe this one. Um, yeah, this really stinks because this got really close. I thought it was going to manipulate right to that entry, and it got within just a pip and a half right there of our sell entry, and then it went down. So this is the same exact story, same exact thing. Okay, awesome. Okay, great. So yeah, just to recap some of these. Oh, I was just curious. Let's see. I want to show you guys this too. This CAD Frank has been in and out. This we'll look at some of these other ones, but this CAD Frank's been in and out of like a strong buy. It's the shift wasn't that big, but it was big enough to issue a buy signal. The sentiment's been a strong buy most of the week. Um, and it especially became a strong buy in the last couple of days. And I want to show you that trade. So this is kind of an interesting um, this is kind of interesting to me. So this actually was down most of the week pretty hard. Like this came down all the way to Wednesday. Then Wednesday it found this really nice um, demand zone. And at the time it issued that really strong buy and it was a strong buy pretty much from I don't know if it was at the beginning of the week, but it was a strong buy at least kind of in this area too. So it was a little bit early to this trade. Um, but you at least had a shift that was a buy. It wasn't that big, so that is something to consider if that's the trade you were thinking about taking during the week. Um, but this is actually one of the reasons, this is one of the ways I want to help you guys use the scanner correctly. So we didn't actually take this trade. It's not, I didn't even trade the CAD Frank this week, but I just want to show you how you would have used this. So this is one of the weaker signals. Um, well, it was a strong buy, but it's it wasn't one of the like signals we were feeling super confident about until recently. Um, and I honestly don't focus on the ones that don't have that big of a shift, but I want to show you a way you could have used the signal. So again, it came down into a demand zone. So you do have to do some homework with that type of trading. You're going to have to go back and find where the demand is and then try to find an entry to buy in. But it's kind of interesting how quickly this market came down and then also how quickly it came out of that. Um, and then it did pull back again. It's actually still a strong buy right now, um, at least until we get the next COT report data. That is still currently the signal is to buy this. But I just wanted to show you that. This is like I said, I don't remember if it was a strong buy at the beginning of the week, but one of the reasons why it's a strong buy is not so much because of the shift. It has more to do with sentiment. So when you're looking at these trades, take a look at why it's a strong buy. You can kind of decipher why that is when you look at the scanner. Is it more about the shift or is it more about the sentiment? In this case, it happens to be more about the sentiment index, just indicating that it's time for a reversal move. It's time for a move to the upside with a little bit of confirmation from the COT shift. Not a huge confirmation, but there is something there, which is why I was telling you there's definitely an opportunity to kind of sneak in there towards the middle or the end of the week and grab, a little buy out of that. Even though generally this has been down for most of the week, as you can see, there's definitely ways you can still profit off of that from the scanner. Now, the rest of these, I think practically everything else, and in fact, I know for a fact that everything else here on the scanner has been quite successful. Like, let's look at, let's see, this week you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strong buys or sell. And I think literally everything in here did well. Let's look at the Aussie Frank from the start of the week. Oh, yeah, this is quite successful. Here's the start of the week. Here's the end of the week. We didn't take this one as a COT trade, but it was one on the scanner, that's for sure. And this, again, very, very successful trade. 117 pips on that one. Aussie dollar was a strong sell, as you guys know. This one was very, very successful from the start of the week. That's when the sell signal came in. Here we are now. Aussie yen, sell signal at the start of the week. And then here we are now. And then just Aussie CAD, pound Aussie, and Euro Aussie. Aussie CAD sell, start of the week. Here we are now. Again, very, very good trade. Actually, real quick on this one, we talked about this one. It's unfortunate that our trade never triggered our midweek trade, but with this one, we talked about this yesterday, that when the market was over here in this general area, we talked about how the market will try to attack the stop losses that are in this area, right? Because at the time, this is where there was a lot of support right in here, right? So in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, I see that now, but like, no, let's go back to when we analyzed this, right? So when we looked at this, When we took this trade, this is where the market was, and this is what we had. We didn't know what was beyond this, right? So we said, okay, right here we have a nice support zone. We've got a very strong signal to sell from the scanner for the week, right? And we know that most people have their stop losses just below this support zone right here. And there just so happens to be a demand zone right in this pink area. So we really felt comfortable that the market was going to get, if it, and again, just if you don't believe me, just go watch the webinar yesterday. We talked about this. We said, hey, this is likely to pull back into this area because we got that strong signal from the scanner, and the markets can't resist. Everybody's stop losses are right here. So it'll probably try to go below that. That's why we placed this trade yesterday. Unfortunately, it just didn't, the signal was actually so good that it never came high enough to trigger us in. It just stinks because we didn't get into it right in the way that we set it up. Right. I mean, we could have just gone in at market yesterday. We could have done something like that, but then your RR ratio is not as good. And I'm really trying to keep good RR ratios on these trades. All right, so there's that one. And then lastly, we have, we already looked at those. We don't need to look at them again, but you have the pound Aussie long and euro Aussie long. So yeah, literally everything that had a strong buy or strong sell did very, very well. As far as shifts go this week, there were only 3 trades that had 3 shifts that were big enough to create a signal. And that was the Aussie yen short, Aussie CAD short, and pound Aussie long. Now, with that though, there were several trades here that did have still big shifts, even though they didn't meet the strong buy or strong sell criteria. And again, that's also why we use sentiment as well to help us confirm these trades. So I really do like the trades when you can get the COT data and the sentiment signal to align. That to me is just beautiful if you can get both of them to come together. If you can get that, then to me that's a strong indication that we should take that signal, which is another reason why I added this column last week, is just to give you a more holistic view of the market. So I would just, like I said, focus on this column right here. This will tell you right here which ones are best to trade right away. And it's these 7 trades right here. So yes, the first column does change during the week. Absolutely. Yeah. So the COT data is stationary throughout the week. The first column is a relationship. It's kind of like a derivative of a mix of things. It actually looks at the COT data, sentiment data, and also the breakout potential. So it looks at all 3 major metrics that we're monitoring, and it gives it a score and then a subsequent signal based off of that score. Okay. So there was a point this week where I think like 4 or 5 out of the 7 were signals. The CAD Frank hasn't been a strong buy all week. That's been in and out of strong buy status. And it's had either just a buy signal or just, and then it recently became a strong buy. So that can change. Absolutely. I think, I'm not sure if it was the Aussie dollar. I think the Aussie dollar was just a sell signal earlier this week. And then as the week progressed, I think by Wednesday, I could be wrong. Again, I don't remember, but by the middle of the week sometime, the Aussie dollar progressed to a strong sell. And that was actually really good timing I actually want to highlight that, just want to kind of showcase that, because the Aussie dollar was just a sell back here. Now, obviously, in hindsight, you're like, dang, that should have been a strong sell, right? Well, a lot of these should have been actually, because a lot of them did very, very well. And then it wasn't until somewhere in the middle of this week, I don't know where, but somewhere over here, this Aussie dollar on the scanner turned into a strong sell. Yeah, it turned into a strong sell. And then once it turned into a strong sell, the rest of this happened. right here. Well, that brings me to another thing. That's another thing that we discussed this week, if you guys remember. So earlier this week on the Aussie dollar, I don't know if you guys remember from the Tuesday and Wednesday webinar, but on Wednesday, somewhere over here, the market was like this. And we said, hey, there's a good chance this market's going to try to retest this trend line. That's probably where it's going to go. I don't know if you guys remember me saying that, but it's just one way you can anticipate. So if you take the scanner and you're like, okay, the signal is to do this, sell. And then you look at the technicals on the chart and you're like, okay, I got a trend line here. I've got support. I got demand that's not until these areas. There's a good chance that's where the banks want to go for the week, right? So you can kind of take that, um, information and kind of run with it. So this just kind of progressed as you guys know, and then eventually, boom, right here it touches the trend line, tries to come up, tries to get into our entry, and then just pummels its way down into this demand. And this is where it's going to wrap up the week, is somewhere in this demand zone. Yep, here it is. So that's pretty cool. So next week when we get the COT data, Tuesday morning, I guess it'll have to be Tuesday morning. You know what? I have an idea. I was just thinking about this. What if we did like an evening live trading on Monday instead? So don't do live trading on Monday morning. We just do it after we send out the COT signals. I think that might be better just because that will give us a better like look at the week. Because so much of what we do depends on the COT report and what we're going to do for that throughout the entire week. So maybe we just do that. Okay, so let's reschedule that right now. Since you guys are here, why don't you guys tell me when works for you? Should we do like a 6 p.m. Mountain? That's like an 8 p.m. Eastern. When does is that going to be okay for everybody? I don't know if that's going to be. There's probably somebody that's got a conflict, right? But let's go ahead and reschedule this. I think that would be really good, actually. 8 Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, let's do that. Let's do 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be right when the Tokyo market opens, which will be good. So we might even be able to hop into some actual live trades then, and we'll have a clear picture of the COT data. And hopefully you guys have taken your COT report trades by then. If not, you could take them by the time we do that. So let's do that. Let me go ahead and change this to 6 p.m. Mountain. That's 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday instead. Okay, that's right here. So the 13th. There we go. Nice. Okay. But we'll still do basic training at the normal time, 2 p.m. And again, I'm still taking requests on that. So if you guys have questions, feel free to, if you guys have topics you want me to talk about in the basic training on Monday, feel free to send me those topics now or over the weekend and we can get that prepared. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. And actually, just real quickly, again, just as recap, there's no COT data this weekend. It will come out Monday at 3:30 Eastern. I will get the scanner and the Telegram updated between 3:30 and 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Monday. So just be aware of that. We'll do live trading at 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday. There will be a weekly training still per usual Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern if you want to come to that. And again, happy Veterans Day to those of you that have served. Thank you for your service. And I hope you enjoy this weekend. Get a lot of food. There's a lot of deals. I was just talking to a veteran last night. He's like, yeah, I just go and make my rounds at the restaurants. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you better. That's awesome. So anyway, thank you. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar. Enjoy your weekend.